ladies and gentlemen, we are recording senior season 4 of the cast.
Sir.
Year 4 for you guys.
Yep,
class
indeed.
of 2024, the class with Kobe Bryant, the Mamba class.
Yeah.
How's it been so far, boys?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little strange. Not gonna lie, senior year to be kind of the quote unquote top dogs of the school is a little unfamiliar, but it's been fun. I think it's gonna be a good year.
Yeah, for me, it's like I feel like I've done so much in just like a week and a half that I've never even done like previous years, because like the senior class, like we set up so many things and like there's so many opportunities that are just open to us now, and it's been just super fun. So
I say hat tip to Dr. Stellwagen, activities director, for prioritizing the senior class, Mrs. Campos as well. Shout out to her in her first year. She's having a strong rookie campaign. I would say her, the first 9 instructional days under our belts here this semester. So she has a senior herself as a mother. Shout out to Izzy, the Iron Woman Campos.
just committed to college to play college lacrosse. So
Exactly, Flagler University or
Yeah.
Flagler College.
something like that.
I
Yeah.
think it's Flagler College down in St. Augustine, and I believe their mascot is the Saints,
Wow.
the Fighting Saints.
There you go.
So yeah, shout out to the Iron Woman. She was great for me in tennis as well as lacrosse. I had her for 3 years, so absolute stud. But no surprise, considering Mrs. Campos is her mom.
Yeah.
And shout out to Mr. Campos. Big fan of him as well. And definitely a diehard Mr. Campos fan. All right, boys. So we really congregated here today to celebrate our perfect record.
Want to know?
North American pigskin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, good game for the Tigers on Saturday. It was a 1 p.m. start on a Saturday. 12-6 victory versus Simeon. Very different from last year's lopsided loss for the Tigers. So yeah, good start. I would definitely say the standout of the game has to be Mason Haas.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mason had 2 interceptions. He also had a 42-yard field goal, which is like unseen for high school football. Really, you never really come across kickers who are as good as Mason is. And he had a couple amazing punts too, pinning them inside the 10, I think 3 times. So that's pretty impressive. I would say he almost single-handedly won the Tigers the game with playing on both sides, like playing special teams and defense.
I was just trying to think of a comparison for him. I have 2 names that come to mind. Let me know if you guys have different names. One is Primetime, Deion Sanders. And then 2, a little bit less heralded of a superstar, but a freak athlete nonetheless, Adoree Jackson, USC gadget player, receiver, cornerback, punt returner, kick returner. I don't think he had the kicking like Mason. Owen's his older brother, right? Mason, he didn't have the kicking tools like Mason did, but he did almost as much as Mason did.
Yeah. He reminds me of like Jack Olson, who we had a couple years ago. He was a all-state kicker. He like set all the field goal records at South, and he also played wide receiver, and he scored a few touchdowns. And he went on to play D1 for, I think it was Michigan State first, and now he's at Northwestern. So that's who the comparison for me is, I think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that kicker combo is really special because it's hard to find a player who can kick that well, but at the same time play really well either on offense or defense. But yeah, I would say overall it was a bit of a slow game, especially in the second half. I mean, the score kind of tells you the story, 12-6. Simeon had that 1 pick six, which were their only points of the match, which really was an unfortunate play for the Tigers.
Yeah.
But other than that, Simeon really didn't offer much on offense. And then the Tigers also struggled a little on offense, I would say, 12 points. Maybe not the best showing. That includes a safety as well, which props to the defense on that. But overall, it was kind of one of those ones you just have to grind out. You have to get in the mud, get a little dirty, and just find a way to get the result.
100%, yeah. And so we'll talk about this in a little bit, but Owen here and we had some pretty privileged views from basically the skybox, the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, up on top of the press box. And I was talking to Coach Farley, who's a pivotal coach for the sophomore staff, but of course there's shared resources, and the sophomore staff ends up helping out varsity during the game. And so, as you mentioned, Tomas, it's kind of a grinded out in the mud game, and I pulled Farley aside. I was like, this is the game plan, isn't it? And he goes, absolutely. Because they want to manage the clock. They want to dominate the time of possession, and the best defense is us holding the ball on offense. Mm-hmm. So if you notice, I don't know if you guys noticed it. I definitely did when I was running the huddle stuff up in the press box. We took our sweet time every time.
Yeah. Especially late game, you could see Luka looking at the clock every time and waiting for the ref to put up his hands in 10 seconds, and then he'd get that mental clock in 5 seconds. They would wait until absolute last second to snap that ball, and I think that is how pretty much every South team runs. Our basketball team loves to hold the ball forever. Football likes to hold the ball forever. Baseball likes to play scrappy, play small ball. We do things different here.
Absolutely, yeah. We manufacture.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely just slowing down that game, and really for the Tigers, I would say the key to that game, other than the huge plays, obviously from Mason Haas, was like you've said, just really digging in their heels and just maintaining the result, just holding for as long as possible. I think that fourth quarter, were there any points scored in that fourth quarter? I mean, it was absolutely just the Tigers just staying on offense, staying on the same drive, and just like you said, best defense is not letting them have the ball. So yeah, I would say overall it was a good result for the Tigers. Definitely, I would say very unexpected for a lot of the people, especially in the student body. I would say most people were expecting a loss like last year, so it was nice to see a good result. But moving forward, I would definitely like to see a little more creativity on offense for the Tigers. But considering the circumstances of the game, it was a well-executed plan for the Tigers.
Exactly. Yeah. You made Simeon come in here, and you played on our field, and we made him play by our rules. So congrats to Coach Norris and the staff for dictating the tempo.
Yeah, and I think that they're definitely have to step up things for week 2 as we head into Lyons Township next week. If you bring out a performance like that against a top 15 team in the state, it might not go so well. So I mean, I think the defense played amazing. I think that was the strong suit of the football team on Saturday. But I think the offense just has to take that leg up in order to potentially get another top 15 victory like they did last year at Neuqua.
Yeah, I mean, in order to beat Lyons Township, you're going to have to do more than just hold the ball and do long drives. You're going to have to score, which, again, 12 points, that's probably not going to cut it against a team like Lyons Township, number 15 in the state, big school, well known for just good sports programs in general. So, yeah, the Lions game is going to be a lot tougher on the road now, Friday night. But, yeah, I mean, the Tigers definitely have a chance. I mean, like Owen, like you mentioned, the game against Neuqua Valley last year, huge upset, week 2. That was also a low-scoring affair. Mm-hmm. So, if the Tigers can maybe, kind of impose their own style of play on the game, make it slow, make it grimy, and get those points on the board, I would say South definitely has a fighting chance.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. So, as a proud University of Illinois alumnus and booster, Lyons Township does boast a two-way offensive defensive lineman, Eddie Turek, fighting Illini commit. So I was talking to some of the players here today in class, wondering, how are they going to handle Mr. Turek, a 3-star recruit, but I've heard a very high-end, high-ceiling 3-star recruit here in Illinois that's going to play for Coach Bielema and the Illini. And so selfishly, I'm excited to see a future Illini play on Friday night, although he's not on our team. More importantly, though, I'm excited to see how the Tigers bottle him up, because the Tigers did bottle up another future high Division I major player, Chris Burgess, for the Simeon Wolverines. And I only heard his name a couple times on the loudspeaker.
Yeah, mostly I think his name was Mike Sean Beeler, something like that. He was kind of the force to be reckoned with in that game. So they were able to equalize, what was his name again?
Burgess.
Burgess. They were equalize him, but when you got two guys that are both pretty high-end quality players, it's hard to be able to attack both guys.
Yeah.
Luckily, Lions only has that one huge name guy. Hopefully they can focus on him, maybe run away from him, or maybe they'll go right at him, like in classic Tiger fashion.
Exactly.
Just go right at him.
Exactly. We'll the honey badger in us, right?
Yeah, well, with Simeon, you had the Wolverines relying a lot on the run game. You had T-Sean McGee with 93 rushing yards. But then the Tigers just countered through the air. Carbonero, 154 yards, touchdown, 11 for 15. An interception, but it was, not really his fault.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say the Tigers, especially with Kreider out, it's definitely going to be through the air if anything's going to happen on offense. I mean, York, was definitely serviceable. 24 rushing yards. He did his job, but on offense, I would say against Lions, it's probably going to have to come through the air. And then, defensively, they're going to have to find a way to contain Lions Township, which, hopefully, seeing that they only have one big name, they should, have a chance at doing that.
Awesome. And speaking of Kreider, you want to give our layman's doctor's diagnosis of his ankle?
Yeah. So last Friday, Kreider suffered an injury in practice. It was people were really worried at first that they thought it was going to be a season-ending potentially, but luckily it's just a high ankle sprain, and I'm hearing he should be back by Geneva week 3. So that'll be huge to have him back early in the season to give the offense that extra leg up.
Yeah, I mean, our number one running back, we're going to need him if we're dreaming of going on any kind of postseason run. So it's really important to get him back as early as possible. And also, for Matt, it's senior year, right? You want to get out there, you want to play, you want to make the most of it. So it really, it's terrible to see a player go down before the season even starts. So hopefully he can get back as soon as possible.
That's another big thing I saw on the field on Saturday was that a lot of seniors were getting cramped up on the field, like John Jensen, for example, and Josh Pratt. And what you saw in them, they did not want to go. They wanted to stay out there as long as possible. They were angry that they got hurt, and that shows something about this team that they don't want to go down. They're going to keep pushing forward, and that's a huge thing to have, especially early on in the season. For some teams, it takes a while to learn that sort of skill to keep getting back up even when you get pushed down. But to have that early, to have that skill early, that's a big thing to have.
Yeah, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. But yeah, to kind of back you guys up there, prove your point. A lot of these kids haven't seen the field until their senior year because there's so many established household names ahead of them when they're underclassmen. So yeah, they absolutely want to make the most of it. And really, when you think about it, there's only 9 games in a season, and these games go by quick. And if you get dinged up and you have to go out for a little bit, it can really be taken away from you in just a moment's notice. But yeah, so I'm really pumped about Kreider. I'm very glad that it really is a best case scenario that we're just going to miss him for approximately 2 games. And I mean, who doesn't want to see that kid run? He's built like a Greek god. So I want to see him and see it maybe in the open field, a defensive back on the other team try to take him down. It's probably not going to go over so well.
Yeah, because he's just so elusive that he can beat you with his speed, but also he's so big that he can just run right through you too. So scary asset to have on offense.
I believe we call those size, speed, specimen.
Yes.
AKA Matt Kreider.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of the panorama for the Tigers right now. And then, so how about the broadcasts on Saturday?
So
the Press Box?
I got my first taste of commentating on a Tiger football game. I wasn't able to yet last year because of seniority reasons, but now that I'm a senior, I get to be up there. Me and Mark Krikorian got to be up there, and it was a really fun experience. I had so much fun. Brennan was up there. It's an amazing view up there. And you'll see me and Tomas hopefully up there in future games to come. Starting with week 4 is the next home game. I believe that's against Glenbard North, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
you're correct.
And then we'll be up there for the homecoming game, and it'll be a lot of fun. So if you don't have a chance to get to the game, you should just listen in to me and Tomas or me and whoever's going to be up there for those games. I know that the guy who was up there, Mark, he said he had a lot of fun, and he said he wanted to do it more. So and if you're South students too, and if you have an interest in doing that, we have a meeting on Tuesday after school, and you should definitely show up.
Shout out Media Club, shout out Scheffler, the brains.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Media Club's so much fun. The YouTube channel is WWS Media Broadcasting. That's where you'll see all the broadcasts for sports events and other assemblies and whatnot. And yeah, I'll definitely be up there with Owen. We've got 3 home games in a row, actually. coming up weeks 4, 5, and 6. That's Glenbard North, then St. Charles North, which is the homecoming game, and the Wheaton North game, which is going to be absolutely
Civil War.
It's going to be
Every
absolutely
year,
gnarly.
regardless of rankings, regardless of record, it's a slugfest.
Yep. So the Crosstown Classic will be a ton of fun. So we'll be up there in the press box, giving play-by-play and commentary. And it's a lot of fun. You go up there. It's like you said, it's a great view. I feel like on Friday night too, kind of the hype is going to be palpable. You can dress up, wear some suits. So yeah, it'll be fun.
And also, if you're not into like the talking like me and Tomas do, you can do cameras. You can be on the field.
That's true.
Like Gavin Sontag does that. He's a beast. Grant Booten does that. He's a beast. So it's just a fun crew.
Yeah, it takes a lot of people to put that broadcast together, and also we kind of do need underclassmen as well, because it seems like just about everyone in the club at this moment is a senior, which does pose a bit of a problem for the upcoming year. So definitely, if you're interested at all, talk to Mr. Scheffler or Mr. Carlini too. So do we want to go into a little bit of NCAA?
Yeah, so
sure.
we certainly whet our appetites this weekend, So we had the official Friday Night Lights campaign starting with IHSA football. Saturday, we had the great privilege of playing on Saturday, and then we had week 0 for college football. Mm-hmm. So it's just honestly one of the best times of the year. School's starting, it's exciting. You guys are seniors, enjoying your year 4 campaign. Pigskin official kickoff season. We're going to have NFL in just about another week and a half. Mm-hmm. So it's just a great time to be alive as a sports fan.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Sam Hartman. He's the new Notre Dame quarterback. He's in his 5th year, final year of college. I remember watching him on this TV show called QB1. He was on there with Justin Fields and this other guy who played for St. John Bosco in California. He had an amazing game. First game with Notre Dame, went 19 for 23 for 251 yards and 4 touchdowns and no picks.
In Dublin, Ireland, correct?
Yes. And he just had an amazing game. And it's awesome to see that, as he had something with his rib where he had to get part of his rib taken out because he had some condition. And it's cool to see that he came back first game of the year and had as amazing game as he did. So I think Notre Dame's going to be a fun team to watch this year.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame absolutely kind of trampled on Navy, 42-3, big lopsided result. And then also in the top 25, you had USC beating San Jose State, 56-28, high scoring game. And yeah, there's plenty of games going into this upcoming weekend. So yeah, I mean, it should be plenty of fun. And then of course you have the NFL, the big beast coming up. Thursday, September 7th, you got Lions Chiefs.
Oh yes.
Which I think will be an amazing game, seeing as that like the Lions, like with Dan Campbell, completely did a 180, and I'm excited to see that game. I think that could be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lions could surprise some people. They had a really good end to the season last year. Almost made the playoffs. They were barely out. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be a competitive team to watch. And now in an NFC North with no Aaron Rodgers, it kind of feels like anything is possible. So yeah, I mean, watch out for the Lions. They might find themselves winning the division for the first time since 1993, I believe, which is a while ago.
I'll tell you what, this NFC North, this might be a sore subject later on the semester, seeing as Owen Miller is not shy about his Minnesota
Vikings, baby.
Minnesota Vikings fandom. So it'll be contentious. I can promise the viewers that. We will not let Owen Miller just waltz in here every week untouched, unscathed.
Don't worry, because I'm definitely on the Bears side of things. Go Bears all the way. Bears-Packers opening week 1, September 10th on that Sunday. Should be a fun game. I am so excited that we finally get to play a Green Bay Packers team with no Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre.
Yeah, because that's the only way you can beat them.
It's crazy. I'm almost twice your guys' age, and for my entire life, it feels, I'm not sure when Brett Favre came into the league, but my conscious memory is Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and the Bears just rolling over and dying.
It's been bad. I only remember Rodgers.
Yeah.
As long as I can remember, it's always been Rodgers.
So despite being twice your age, we have the same experience. So that's not good.
Hey, I mean, hopefully it'll be a better season. You got DJ Moore in there. Got some good pieces, so we'll see. I mean, I'm not expecting anything crazy, but maybe better than the worst record in the
it's a great vibe right now. We got nothing to lose. We can play loose. Hopefully they speed the offense up a little bit. We were dead last in the league in pass attempts. Fields was a top, I think, 7 rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, he was.
So you had the best rushing offense in the NFL, I'm pretty sure, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and which boggles my mind because of the porous Swiss cheese offensive line that we've had, but which we've reinforced with Darnell Wright. So I'm pumped to have a franchise. Is he right tackle? I think he's right, not left, or
I believe.
either way, right or left tackle. We got a franchise right tackle, and that's really, as the Lions know, Detroit Lions, whose praises we were singing earlier. It's all about fortifying that offensive line and defensive line.
Yeah, and the game I'm really excited for is Monday Night Football. Next, to end the week, is Jets-Bills. So we get a taste of Aaron Rodgers on the Jets and see Josh Allen and the Bills try to maybe live up to the hype for the first time. Every year they're like, oh, the Bills are going to the Super Bowl, and they just can't do it. They can't get there.
What's your take, speaking of the Jets, speaking of Rodgers, have you guys been able to consume any of Hard Knocks?
I have not.
No, I have not.
I have not either. Well, I'll tell you what, I tried. The first episode, though, it was a love fest for Aaron Rodgers, and I couldn't do it. I shut it off. Despite how great the production value is, despite, the show's been running for 20 years, I think, I couldn't stomach it.
Yeah.
I could not watch this Aaron Rodgers love fest on HBO.
I think the Jets will be interesting, especially now with Dalvin Cook just getting added to their team.
That's true.
Interesting to see if Breece Hall and him split snaps or what's going to be the deal there. As a Vikings fan, it hurts to see Dalvin Cook go. I think Alexander Mattison is going to be able to step up and fill that role because I feel like last year Dalvin Cook was only really good for touchdowns. He didn't really get us any yards at all. And I feel like Mattison has that edge to get the yards. This is just a Vikings biased fan talking. I don't know if any of you care about what I have to say about the Vikings, but I will gladly boast about the Vikings. And if you're a Vikings fan, I will talk to you for days about the Vikings on how I think they'll do this season. So, also shout out Jack Landon for being and Luke Sherman for being the other 2 Vikings fans in the school that I know. So
yeah, I did know that actually. But yeah, speaking of running backs, I mean, going back to the Bears' successful season last year, they just got even better with the Roshan Johnson side.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we lost David Montgomery, but
to the Lions, right?
Yeah, to the Lions.
This is just the NFC North.
Yeah.
NFC North roundtable.
But I would definitely say I feel very confident in the Bears' running game. It's the air that worries me a little. But I think Justin Fields hasn't really had the opportunity to demonstrate, his true capacity, throwing the ball because, the offensive line has just been so awful. And, let's be honest, he didn't have that many options either. I mean, so now with DJ Moore, with a better offensive line, some more weapons, hopefully Claypool can have, a little bit of a better season this year. Hopefully Fields can kind of show, what he's made of, not running the ball because he's already proved that, but throwing the ball. And yeah, I mean, really, I would say success for the Bears isn't so much measured by, the record. I mean, you want the record to be better, but I'm really more focused on how is this offense performing, and specifically how is Justin Fields performing. Because when you're looking at, someone who you would like to be your franchise quarterback, you need to see those signs of growth. And if we don't see that, then you really start getting into, a conversation about what's the future of this franchise.
Kind of like the whole Trey Lance situation, how they drafted him like top 5 pick, and now he's out of there in a couple years.
Exactly.
It makes our Trubisky pick look almost genius.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the Bears have always been known for defense, but I would say now the franchise is moving more towards an offense-oriented squad, which is fine. But the most important centerpiece of that is the quarterback. Because I think if you secure a franchise quarterback, usually everything else will start to fall in place.
I think the NFC North should be worried about Kirk Cousins finally being under the same offense in Minnesota for 2 years in a row. Every single year he's had a different offensive coordinator, different offense. It's been different. This year, Kevin O'Connell stayed. Their offensive coordinator stayed. It's going to be the same thing. Justin Jefferson is getting even better somehow. I expect an even bigger season from him, maybe 2K this year, 2K yards.
Count me in. I'm a big JJ fan.
Yeah, and I think the Vikings will be scary having the same offense 2 years in a row now, and they're just going to get more comfortable. Question marks are on the defensive end. Very young defense, but one of the undrafted free agents that we got from Cincinnati, Ivan Pace Jr., has stepped up and went from undrafted to now the linebacker 1 for the Vikings. So that's a pretty cool story, and I'm excited to see how he does. And I'm excited just to watch the NFC North in general. I think it'll be one of the more, maybe not exciting divisions to watch in the NFL, but like it'll be an interesting to see like who gets first, because I feel like it could be Lions, Bears, Vikings. I don't see the Packers being up there at all, but I think the Lions, Bears, and Vikings all could fight for that number 1 spot. Personally, I'd like to see the Vikings win. That's just a bias, and I think that that's what's going to happen. I think that the Vikings didn't really get worse this off season, but the Lions did get better. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I would say the NFC North is the most unpredictable division, or arguably the most unpredictable division in the NFL. Because I mean, just saying maybe the Bears can win already, that's something you couldn't say for a while there. Now, I would say expectations for the Bears is definitely not winning the division. I would love to see it, but I'm not expecting that. A lot of things would have to go right. I mean, you would have to see huge progress from Fields. DJ Moore would have to absolutely break out. The defense would have to be at least solid. I don't really see it happening, even though I'd love to see it. I would say more realistically speaking, try to inch towards 500. Like if you can be like in the 500 range, maybe still below 500, but get close. Now it's 17 games, so something like even like 7-ish wins, I would be okay with. As long as there's like visible progress, and there's a clear direction that the franchise is going in, I would say that should be the focus, because the Bears can become an up-and-coming team, right? Because you mentioned Kirk Cousins, right? He's been in the Vikings for a while now.
But he's only going to be there for so much longer. So.
Right, yeah, he's only going to be there for so much longer. And so, you look at Justin Fields, hopefully, the idea is that he's here for the long haul, right? With the Bears, he said before he wants to stay in Chicago, he wants to win a Super Bowl in Chicago, and that's great, but it's going to take time. It's a huge project, so I would say this year is a really good stepping stone to get there.
And then I'll give you the last little ditty of NFL news. I saw today that the Cardinals are not picking up Kyler Murray's option, and Kyler Murray is not going to play for the first 4 weeks of the season at least.
Wow.
And they also just dropped Colt McCoy, their backup quarterback. So now they're going to have to use their 3rd string or 4th string quarterback who they just drafted into the season, and it looks like the Caleb Williams tank has started.
Yeah, they might as well be on the clock right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cardinals have been a laughingstock this whole offseason. Everyone's like, this is going to be the worst team in the NFL. Like, they dropped pink jerseys that they're going to wear, which is a little bit interesting. But, I mean, real men wear pink, but I'm just saying that, like, yeah, football jersey is a little interesting, but.
Now to think of it, I want to see what these unis look like. Yeah. maybe we'll throw a still up on our Instagram post just for some reference.
But that'll be interesting to see the Caleb Williams tank go on throughout this NFL season. Maybe teams who expected to win are losing early, and they're like, oh, I might as well just tank now, try to get that first overall pick.
Which brings us to, we are going to have a first round pick, right, for Carolina, the Panthers, correct? I believe
Yes.
that is from the
That is correct.
the DJ Moore trade.
We're getting a first round pick from the DJ Moore trades.
So let's see. Let's make this tankathon interesting. Let's see what the Panthers do. Let's see what the Cardinals do. Let's see if the Panthers can somehow out tank the Cardinals. But I don't foresee that happening.
Especially with Bryce Young, I don't think they need to.
Yeah.
They won't.
Yeah, that would not look good if they tanked again just to take another quarterback. It's been done before, right?
It has been done.
I think, in fact, the Arizona Cardinals, I think they had Drew Rosen,
Josh Rosen, and then next year it's
Josh Rosen.
Kyler Murray.
That's true.
It has been done before. Very good, very good. Well, boys, I think hopefully our fan base likes football.
Yeah.
If they don't like football, then they might drop the subscription here.
Right.
We might receive some angry complaints.
We'll have a little more variety in the upcoming episodes for sure.
You can't blame us. I mean,
But
we're starved. We're
Yeah.
starved for football. We paid our dues. We did our time. We were good boys in the off season. We watched baseball. We watched basketball. We tried to do what was right. But now it's time to just get locked in and play some fantasy football, draft some fantasy teams, talk with your boys. Speaking of which, I almost got sidetracked. Bears win the division. We're going to have to figure out something for Owen to do for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Vikings win the division. We'll figure out something that we got to do for
Yeah.
Owen.
All right.
And we're gonna do it live.
If neither happens, we all have to do something.
Yeah. All right. We'll find out. Hey, do we have any Lions fans in
Van Heest.
Mr. Van Heest?
Yes.
Mr. Van Heest. That's right. He's from Michigan. Okay. We'll figure out what we can do for Van Heest, and then Packers fans. Kyer.
Okay.
Mr.
and-
Kyer's a diehard Packers fan. All right. So we'll figure out something we could do for him if they win, and
Okay.
Van Heest if the Lions win.
All right.
Sounds good.
Hopefully it's hopefully it's the Vikes or the Bears though, because that'll make for good radio, good podcasting.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll sign us off. Episode 1. Owen, Tomas, thanks for being in my co-pilot chairs here, and it's going to be an epic season here.
Of course, it's good to be back.
All right, go Tigers.